Hey, Niners faithful, today we dive straight into the heart of what this team has been building over the past few weeks. 4K, if there's one thing you can feel around San Francisco right now, it is that sense of momentum that fans were craving after everything that happened last season. When you think back to how frustrating that 6-1 collapse felt, watching the group stumble through injuries, missed opportunities, bad weather, inconsistencies on both sides of the ball, it makes the current moment stand out even more. Because now the Niners sit with 8 wins and 4 losses, fresh off a huge victory on Monday night against a team with a winning record and finally right in the thick of the National Football Conference race again. They're shoulder to shoulder with the Los Angeles Rams and the Seattle Seahawks, fighting for every inch in the National Football Conference West, and fans can feel that this version of the team has something real to build on. What changes the conversation completely is the way the defense has responded over the last 2 games. That performance against Carolina was exactly what you expect from a young unit trying to grow into something special. They tightened up against the run. They stopped giving up those back-breaking explosive plays that burned them against Arizona, and the entire group played with that hunger and urgency that defines great defenses. When you have a roster this young, you want to see progress, and the last 2 weeks were full of signs that several players are finally finding their rhythm. The pass rush took a step forward, the coverage tightened up, and you could feel that collective energy shifting in the right direction. On the offensive side, the night was not perfect, especially with Brock playing below his usual level, but it is impossible not to appreciate how Christian McCaffrey continues carrying this attack. Every touch he gets changes the flow of the game. George Kittle is healthier and moving like his old self again. And even though the breakout game for Ricky Pearsall has not arrived yet, you get the sense it is only a matter of time before he delivers that big performance fans have been waiting for. Brock still managed to connect with Jawan Jennings in some key moments, and those sparks matter, especially when your offensive line is finally playing at a higher level after struggling early in the season. The left guard rotation has settled into something a lot more dependable. Spencer Burford and Ben Barch have been noticeably steadier than they were in the first stretch of the year, and the interior looks more organized and confident than what we saw when injuries were piling up. Dominic Pooney being healthy again has also added some needed stability. When you mix all that with Christian McCaffrey's historic season and what Kyle Shanahan has done managing a roster that underwent such a deep reset during the offseason, it becomes obvious how impressive this 8-4 start really is. They lost veterans, absorbed a mountain of dead money, went younger across the board, and still found themselves right in the playoff picture heading into December. Even though the team currently sits in the last wildcard spot, that can change quickly. The Rams have 9 wins and 2 losses. The Eagles and Bears both have 8 wins and 3 losses, and the Buccaneers stand at 6-5, holding down division leads. The Niners already split with Los Angeles and still have another massive clash left with Seattle. These next few weeks will determine everything when it comes to seeding. And the fact that this race is unfolding inside what might be the deepest division in football only raises the stakes. You have the Rams with 9 wins and 2 losses, the Seahawks with 8 wins and 3 losses, and the Niners with 8 wins and 4 losses, all chasing each other, all trying to secure every possible advantage before January rolls around. What helps is that the schedule ahead gives San Francisco a chance to close strong if they execute. A tough road matchup against the Cleveland Browns comes first, and that is never an easy place to play. The weather is cold, the stadium is loud, and the conditions almost always turn games into old-school, grinded-out battles. Then the Niners get a much-needed Week 14 bye. After that, one of the weakest teams in football comes to Levi's Stadium, offering a perfect chance to reset before a difficult road trip to face Indianapolis. Then comes a Sunday night showdown with the Chicago Bears, followed by that huge rematch with Seattle. If the Niners handle business, they control their own destiny. If they slip, the playoff picture becomes chaos. And what makes all of this even more intriguing is the fact that the entire league this season feels wide open. There is no dominant powerhouse running away with things. If you were forced to name one, maybe you would point to the Los Angeles Rams, and the Niners already beat them on a Thursday night earlier this year. So every opportunity is sitting right in front of San Francisco. It is simply a matter of putting together the performances needed to take advantage of it. Looking ahead to Week 13, the matchup with Cleveland is shaping up to be one of those games that fans might remember for a long time. Cold weather, low temperature, slick field, and a rookie quarterback with a massive following stepping into the spotlight. Shatter Sanders brings an energy and a level of attention that makes every snap compelling, whether you love him or love to hate him. The throw he made rolling to his right against Las Vegas was the kind of play that turns heads, and he has already shown flashes of what could make him a long-term starter. Even though his numbers last week were modest, he had only 1 week of practice with the starters, and you could see real signs of growth. Add all that to the storm of storylines around this matchup, and you have a game filled with intrigue, noise, and drama as November comes to a close. The weather, the rookie, the stakes in a National Football Conference West, the playoff picture tightening, the contrast between a veteran team chasing a deep postseason run and a young Brown squad trying to find its identity with a new face under center. Every layer of this matchup makes it even more unpredictable. And that is before we even get into what the Niners defense will try to do against Shatter Sanders, or how this team plans to overcome the conditions that have historically given Brock Purdy so many problems. And that brings us to one of the most fascinating elements of this matchup, because whenever the weather turns ugly and the temperature dips, the spotlight lands squarely on Brock Purdy and how he handles those conditions. It has been the one lingering criticism that continues to follow him across different seasons. Every time the wind picks up and the field turns slick, you can almost feel fans holding their breath, remembering those tough outings in the past when the cold seemed to take away the rhythm of the passing attack. That game in Cleveland 2 years ago still sits in the back of everyone's mind. The one where he finished with barely more than 100 yards, a completion percentage that dipped painfully low, and a clear struggle gripping and controlling the football. And with temperatures expected to sit somewhere between 34 and 42 degrees on Sunday, this becomes a genuine test of where Brock has grown and where he still has to improve. The Browns' defense is relentless, led by a pass rusher who is putting together one of the most outrageous seasons the league has seen in a long time. Myles Garrett has been on a different planet this year, stacking sacks, collapsing pockets, and dictating entire offensive game plans by himself. With 18 sacks already and a pace that puts him within reach of Michael Strahan's legendary record, Garrett is the kind of player who can tilt the entire outcome of a game with a handful of snaps. And when you pair that with the pass rush grade he has earned, the quarterback hits, the pressures, and the pure explosiveness he plays with, it becomes clear that San Francisco's offensive line is staring at one of its toughest challenges of the season. Even though the offensive tackle play has been strong, especially with Penei Sewell and Trent Williams performing at elite levels, the weak point has consistently shown up when facing premier pass rushers. Colton McKivitz has improved, no doubt about that. He has grown from the struggles of 2 seasons ago and developed into a much steadier player. But those matchups against top-tier defensive ends always expose the difference between good and elite. Cleveland would be foolish not to line Garrett up across from him and let him attack that edge with everything he has. The Niners will counter with tight end help, quick throws, misdirection, anything to slow down the pass rush. But even with all of that, the margin for error stays razor thin. And then there's the chess match between Kyle Shanahan and Jim Schwartz. For whatever reason, Schwartz has seemed to solve Shanahan's system more consistently than any other defensive coach in the league. Their head-to-head record paints that picture clearly, and every time they cross paths, the games turn into low-scoring, grinding defensive battles where field position and patience matter more than flashy stat lines. San Francisco cannot afford to walk into this game expecting to light up the scoreboard. This is the kind of afternoon where touchdowns feel like gold, where mistakes can decide everything, and where maintaining composure in nasty conditions becomes one of the biggest deciding factors. On the other side of the ball, San Francisco's defense should have opportunities to dominate. Cleveland's offense has been one of the least productive groups in the league, struggling on third down, struggling to move the ball, struggling in the red zone, and constantly putting their defense in bad positions. The stats paint the picture clearly. Near the bottom in yards per game, near the bottom in yards per play, and near the bottom again in scoring. It is not an explosive unit, and with a rookie quarterback making only his second career start, the Niners' defense has a golden chance to dictate everything early. But the excitement around Shatter Sanders changes the dynamic. He brings something different, something electrifying, something unpredictable. There's a certain energy that follows him onto the field, whether fans adore him or tune in just to root against him. That rolling right throw against Las Vegas, the flashes in the preseason, the composure he showed when Carolina brought pressure, all of it suggests that even in the rough patches, he has the talent to pull off a game-changing play at any moment. And when you combine that with a home crowd that will be buzzing to see what he does next, the Niners cannot treat him like a typical rookie. This is a player who thrives in chaos, and chaos is exactly what the Cleveland weather is expected to create. From a Niners perspective, their defensive front has to set the tone early. They need to hit Sanders, disrupt his timing, and force him to feel the speed of an elite defense. If they allow him to extend plays, improvise, and settle into a rhythm, Cleveland can turn this into a tight fourth-quarter game where one mistake becomes the difference. The linebackers cannot let him escape the pocket. The secondary cannot allow blown coverages. The pass rush cannot give him clean windows to work through. Everything has to be disciplined, urgent, and consistent. Meanwhile, the biggest question hanging over this game is how San Francisco will approach the offensive game plan. With the weather looming and the Browns' defense playing at such a high level, this could become the ultimate Christian McCaffrey game. He has been the heartbeat of this offense, driving the team forward every week, stacking up yards from scrimmage, and creating mismatches wherever he lines up. In a cold, windy, low-scoring environment, the team may lean on him even more heavily than usual. The same goes for George Kittle, who has slowly regained the explosiveness and confidence that injuries had taken away. These are the kind of games where veteran stars have to carry the load. But for San Francisco to escape with a win, Brock Purdy will still need to make key throws. Maybe not deep shots, maybe not flashy highlight plays, but those precise third-down completions that keep drives alive. Those tough passes into tight windows on slants, outs, and crossing routes. The throws that extend a possession long enough for McCaffrey to do the rest. And he will have to do it while a winter wind cuts across the stadium and Myles Garrett is coming off the edge with bad intentions. This matchup feels less like a regular season battle and more like one of those classic late-year measuring stick games where you find out what a team is really made of. You learn whether they can win ugly, whether they can stick together in uncomfortable conditions, whether the quarterback can overcome the one lingering weakness critics bring up every time his name enters the conversation, whether the offensive line can protect long enough to give the attack space to breathe, whether the defense can carry the weight when necessary. All of it is on the table Sunday. But before we dive in, don't forget to subscribe to 49ers Zone and hit the like button on this video. Your support helps us keep bringing you the latest updates on the San Francisco 49ers. And don't forget to share your thoughts on the news in the comments below. ESPN has reportedly confirmed a move that could send shockwaves through the NFL. The San Francisco 49ers have secured Patrick Surtain II in a trade that insiders are calling a complete overhaul of the team's secondary. While details of the trade are still emerging, sources suggest that the 49ers gave up significant assets to acquire the elite cornerback, signaling their intention to dominate defensively in the upcoming season. The buzz around the league is immediate. Patrick Surtain II, widely regarded as one of the premier shutdown corners in football, brings not only talent, but also a rare combination of athleticism, instinct, and game intelligence that can immediately transform any defensive unit. For San Francisco, a team already known for its stout defensive schemes, this acquisition could mark the beginning of a new era in the secondary, one that opponents will likely fear facing week after week. League insiders are speculating that this move isn't just about on-field performance. It's a statement. The 49ers appear willing to reshape their roster around elite talent, and the addition of Surtain II could elevate the entire defensive backfield. Rumors suggest that coaches are already brainstorming ways to maximize his skill set, potentially pairing him with existing cornerbacks in creative schemes designed to confuse and stifle opposing quarterbacks. The chatter is intense, with fans and analysts alike debating the long-term impact of this trade. Could this be the defining moment that propels the 49ers into serious Super Bowl contention, or is it a high-stakes gamble on one player's ability to lead a secondary? Either way, the excitement is palpable. Surtain II himself has been the subject of trade speculation for months, and now that it's reportedly a done deal, social media is ablaze with reactions. Former teammates, league veterans, and analysts are weighing in, calling the move bold and game-changing. While the official announcement is expected to come soon, the whispers in the NFL corridors are already loud. San Francisco may have just secured the piece that makes their defensive puzzle nearly unstoppable. If these rumors hold true, the 49ers' secondary might not just be strong, it could be legendary. That's it for this update. If you enjoyed the video and want to keep receiving exclusive news about the San Francisco 49ers, make sure to subscribe to 49ers Zone and give this video a like. We always look forward to hearing your comments and opinions. See you in the next video.